Hello everybody and welcome back to the Toon Review YouTube channel. My name's Paul. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, ahead of kickoff tonight on Matchday Live, of course, 7:30. Don't miss it on this very channel. We have some transfer news this morning. A couple of players maybe for the summer, but a veteran defender who could come in on a short-term deal and for me would be an excellent acquisition, as I say, on a short-term basis. And would you believe that Alexander Isak is linked with another Premier League club? And it's in London? Jeez, it just never stops. But I wanted to start the show today with the veteran defender that I've been talking about, and that is, of course, Sergio Ramos. Now, he has been mentioned with Newcastle United in a few media outlets this morning, and I'm thinking to myself, would this really be a bad deal? Because in my opinion, it wouldn't. I know people are going to look at it and think, he's 38-year-old, he's over the hill, but just hear me out on this. Yes, he's 38, okay, but he's kept himself extremely fit, okay? Now, Botman, Lascelles, etc., coming back from ACL injuries and match fitness may be a problem in time to try and gain that, okay? We want them back properly fit. But would Ramos be a really bad signing on a short-term deal, maybe till the end of the season? Somebody of that magnitude who's won literally everything in the game to come in and be part of the squad. Now, I'm not sitting here saying, Ramos is going to be first name on the team sheet, because that's just not going to happen. It isn't. Let's be logical here. There's defenders that would be ahead of him. But he'd come in as a squad member. And would that kind of personality be bad to have around the squad? Think of the things that he could teach the youngsters, like Livramento, Lloyd Kelly, and of course, Lewis Hall. These youngsters could pick a lot up from him. He's got so much experience. So to have a guy like him around the squad on a short-term deal, it wouldn't be a bad thing for me at all. Yes, he's a bit of a hothead, or has been a very big hothead in his time. You remember the clashes that he had with Barcelona. Incredible antics on the pitch sometimes. But he's a winner. He's a born winner. And he's a leader as well. And to have that kind of guy come into the dressing room for me certainly would not be a bad thing for Newcastle United. He has stated that he would have loved or still love to play in the Premier League at some point in his career. So this for me is a no-brainer. There's no transfer fee to pay. He's a free agent. Apparently he's not going to ask for crazy wages either. I think he realises that now he's a free agent. He's 38-year-old. He's not going to command the wages he did when he was 24, 25. It's just not going to happen. So he understands that. But I think he wants to be involved in football and would love to have the opportunity to have a bit of an experience in the Premier League. And again, he'll not play a lot of football, but he'll be fantastic cover for us at the centre-back position, which we do need a right centre-back to cover for Fabian Schär. Emil Kraft's out injured now, of course. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. I'd love to see Ramos come in because of what he can do, not just on the pitch, but at the training ground, in the dressing room, have that kind of winning mentality in there, that kind of personality. I don't see a problem with it at all. I really don't. So I'm really hoping that this happens. I've been a big fan of Sergio Ramos, and even to have him for 6 months at Newcastle United would be really beneficial, I think, for players behind the scenes as well. But let me know what you think. Do the positives outweigh the negatives, age, etc., on Sergio Ramos? And like I say, no way will be a first-time starter, but a guy like that around the squad, I think it'd be fantastic for the younger guys to learn from. But we'll see what happens with that. Now, another centre-back, which we were clearly interested in last summer, was, of course, Antonio Silva from Benfica. Apparently, we made a bid for him. It was rejected, and we never went back. And I think we all know where we spent most of our time trying to sign someone in the summer, and that didn't happen either. Now, apparently, he's still very much on Newcastle United's radar. He's still just 21 years old. The transfer fee, he could command a transfer fee of around 50 million quid. It's a lot of money. But you know what? Juventus are keen as well. And I think there's going to be a battle for this guy in the summer. I think Benfica have held on to him for as long as they possibly can and have now realised that the time is now that they're going to have to sell him if they're to make a big profit on him. Because if they keep him a few more seasons, they risk injury or lack of form or something like that. This guy is commanding probably the highest now value fee he's going to get, or Benfica are going to get over the next year or so. So it could be that a summer move is going to happen for Antonio Silva. Now, many Newcastle United fans were very much behind this signing, thinking, yes, he's an excellent player. We've covered him on transfer shows. He looks the part. And again, for me, 50 million quid, you look at Gehi, what he's trying to command at the moment, and you think, surely going for Antonio Silva makes more sense. But with the addition of Juventus, and there's probably going to be other European teams involved in trying to get this guy, because I think, Benfica rejected as many bids as they could, like I said, but now is the time where I think this summer is going to be the move for Antonio Silva. We have to get in there, and we have to get in there pretty quick, because there is going to be a lot of clubs looking at this guy. Very talented player. But 50 million quid, it's a lot of money again, but you've got to pay it. Like I've said many times, if you want your club to be up there in the elite part of the Premier League, we need elite players. And, Antonio Silva is certainly an elite player. A couple of years younger than Gehi as well. I'd rather go for this deal, guys. I don't know about you. I would rather look at somebody like Antonio Silva than Marc Gehi right now. Gehi is bang out of form. Don't know whether he's lost a bit of confidence or whatever it is. He's had his head turned. I don't know. But right now, as it stands, I would love to see Antonio Silva. I think he's a wonderful defender, but time will tell. Now, on the forward front, Newcastle United seem to be very keen on Ibrahim Maza. Now, he's 19-year-old, but a very versatile midfielder stroke forward for Hertha Berlin. Now, it's expected that if Hertha Berlin do not get promoted to the Bundesliga at the end of this season, Maza will go, because Hertha Berlin have to cash in on him simply because of money value as well. Now, this guy scored 5 goals, 3 assists so far in 15 appearances for Hertha Berlin this season. He can play in an advanced midfield role, he can play on the right, and he can play up front. So you look at him and you think of Mbeumo as well. Mbeumo can play those positions, but this kid is 19. So do you take a risk on the 19-year-old, or do you focus on Mbeumo, who Newcastle are apparently very interested in as well? And then you think to yourself, right, well, Mbeumo's Premier League proven. He's got the experience. Maza would come in. He's in the second Bundesliga. He's not at the top level. Does that make a big difference? I mean, for me, Mbeumo's been a favourite of mine for a long, long time, who we should try and target for that right-hand side. I think if we get Mbeumo, then, we can really make a charge for the top 4 this season. I mean, I'm not joking on that. I think it's very apparent that that is the weak part of the side at the moment. Although, don't get me wrong, Anthony Gordon's doing very well there, and Joe Linton and Willock are teeing up on the left-hand side. So, at the moment, it's not a massive problem, but I think a proper player like Mbeumo would just take us to the next level. I'm not saying we shouldn't go for Maza either. Let's be honest, we have to build a squad. And I think over the course of the next few transfer windows, I'm hoping what we'll see is Newcastle United start to bring these elite players in and have a couple of elite players in each position so that we can rotate the squad on a regular basis. I think that we got found out a little bit about that when we were in the Champions League. We didn't have a squad big enough to cover for all the injuries, etc. that happened. So I think Newcastle United will be very aware of that. So, could Mbeumo come in? Could Maza come in? I'm not sure what the transfer fee would be on this kid. Obviously, Hertha Berlin, if they don't get promoted this season, they're still down in the second Bundesliga. I don't think they could command a massive fee. They'd need to get some money in for him to help with their financial situation. So it's a balance, isn't it? Because you're looking at Mbeumo, he's not that old, and then you've got a 19-year-old here who is very versatile. He could come into the squad and play a very different position to right-hand side if we do, in fact, go for Mbeumo. It's just incredible, because you sit here as a fan and you're thinking, right, we've got so many players linked with the club, but you have to be realistic and look at the names and try and judge, would they be a good fit for Newcastle United? You could throw all the names in the world at you in the press and things like that, saying, Newcastle are interested in XYZ and stuff like that. But realistically, you've got to just take a step back, look through the reports and think, yeah, this player would make a good addition. This would possibly be realistic to happen. And certainly Maza would certainly be one of those players that is a realistic opportunity to happen. But he is going to be chased a lot again by a lot of teams. There's a few Premier League teams after him already, a few across Europe as well. So it wouldn't just be a case of a simple signing. Again, all of these quality players that Newcastle United are going to go for in the summer or in the winter, there's going to be other clubs after them because they're elite players. They have a very high standard. We're not shopping in, bargain basements anymore. So we've got to expect a fight, which is, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how, Mitchell, etc., sell the club to these players. Now, Alexander Isak finally, and you know what? It's just an absolute joke, this, because the Southern media just can't wait to get the teeth into Newcastle every single day of the Southern week. Despite Isak coming out and saying he was very happy at Newcastle last week while he was away on international duty, now he's been linked with Chelsea, or Chelsea have declared an interest in Isak. So this isn't anything saying Isak wants to go to Chelsea. This is more along the lines of they've declared an interest in Alexander Isak. One report, which I actually laughed out loud at when I read it, was that they're wanting to swap Nicholas Jackson for Alexander Isak. Now, don't get me wrong. Jackson's had a decent season so far. But is he of the same calibre as Alexander Isak, who is now starting to very much come into form? Scoring regularly. He's getting his confidence back. He looks happy on the pitch. Do we really want to swap for Nicholas Jackson? Not a chance. Not a chance. And this is the thing. This is how the Southern media roll, because they look at Newcastle United as a much lesser club than the London clubs and think, well, Newcastle United, nowhere near, the stature of Chelsea or anything. No, we're not. Not in trophies. But in club size, we've got the support there. We've got the, the owners there. We can be a giant, and I'm sure we will be in the next few seasons. And, just stating that Isak will probably want to leave. This is as bad as the bullshit that Troy Deeney's come out with over the last few days, saying that, Arsenal should get Isak. And just don't show Newcastle disrespect. If Chelsea are interested in him, fine. But don't come out with a garbage saying that, they're looking to swap Nicholas Jackson for Isak. I mean, do you really think the Newcastle owners would look at that and think, yep, that's a good deal, let's go for it, let's just do a straight swap? Give me a friggin' break. If Chelsea want Isak, they're going to have to smash their transfer record. And their transfer record currently stands at 115 million quid. So if they want Isak, they're going to have to blow that out the water. Simple as that. It's just ridiculous bias again towards the Southern teams, the London teams, who, for some reason, the press just think, oh, hang on a minute, the Newcastle player linked with a move. Of course he's going to want to move to London. Of course he's going to want to move to Arsenal or Chelsea, despite the player himself saying he's perfectly happy at the club. Just try and at least report on, realistic things. Not coming out with, they'll swap him with Nicholas Jackson. Give me a break. The money that we can get for Isak, come on. If we ever did sell Isak. It's just an absolute joke, man. It's laughable. It really is. But there you go, guys. Please do give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. And, of course, please subscribe if you're new. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. And, of course, if you're watching this on Monday, don't forget to watch tonight, 7:30, Matchday Live, Newcastle United versus West Ham. It kicks off at 8 o'clock. So we've got half an hour build-up to the game. And then, of course, play-by-play commentary of the match from 8 o'clock. And hopefully see a few goals smashed in by the Toon tonight and 3 points. But in the meantime, have a wonderful Monday, guys, and we'll see you tonight. Take care.